Coat, Tazaro wide out and now King of the Castle drives through the middle. King of the Castle and Tazaro fighting it out. King of the Castle and Tazaro goes back to back. Tazaro knocked off King of the Castle.
Welcome to Bet Doctor Behind the Curtain. Look at how pro punters operate. I'm your host Scoot. I'm joined in studio by Happy himself, John Walter. He's just been in peak hour traffic at the Gold Coast. That doesn't exist, Walt. There's no such thing as traffic in the Gold Coast.
How would you know, mate? You don't go anywhere. You stay home. You make everyone come to you. So how would you know?
No, you can build a studio.
Do you even have a car?
Hey?
Do you even have a car?
Stolen. Youth crime. It's on the rise up here, but it's everywhere. DK, how are you, mate? Bundled out of the finals, I hear.
Yeah, we got bundled out. The rotten wind was blowing once. Boys hadn't played in wind all year. They copped a windy game and didn't handle it well. But anyway, yeah, so that was disappointing. A bit of emotional drinking there Sunday afternoon and evening I did. But no, anyway. It comes to a long season. Started training the boys in February. All of a sudden, bang, 6 months, big commitment, like 40-odd training sessions, 16 games, and all of a sudden it's ended. So anyway.
Isaac could be on the backup next year, bottom age, top age. Are you going to coach again? Coaching again?
Yeah, I've got Avery coming through on the under. She'll be coming through on the under 8 girls as well. So, so she's a little goer too. So I'm just not sure whether I'm going to be as good as coach for the older boys. Might be better with the little ones. So I'll work that out, Scooty. But it's good fun though. I tell you, it gives you something. My point in life. It's just given me another great interest. I've been passionate and all I've lived, eaten, breathed for 25 years is horse racing, and it's just been great to have another little outlet. Something for you to look forward to down the track, Nico, when you and the squeeze get going from years time.
Hopefully that's a long time away.
Anyway, another 20-degree days down here, boys. Just magnificent outside. Not a cloud in the sky. First week of August. Just you go up the Gold Coast, the beautiful weather. No dramas down here.
20 degrees.
20 degrees. It's 24. I was at the beach on Sunday. But speaking of, it was more of a bit of a monorail at Moonee Valley on Saturday. What was that dished up on Saturday, Nico? Was that Metro Standard? I think 6 of the 9 winners were in the top 3. 5 and 9 were leaders. I think the Summit was the only genuine closer. I think it was the only horse that was sort of 5 lengths off him at the 800, the 600, and it was the only genuine closer. I had Luke Cray argue that it wasn't a leader's track, of course, on Sunday. So he's obviously got nothing better to do. He's probably the only bloke that could argue against it.
On the grumpy scale,
huh?
On the grumpy scale, if I'm like a 9.7, what's he at? 86?
He's off the Richter. He's off the Richter.
Hiroshima.
Not Metro Standard though, Nico. And in disgust, I think you said on Saturday night or Sunday, I can't remember when it was, but you said you're not going to bother going next time.
Well, that could change, but there was just no point from a yard point of view. Like you're looking in the yard, you're looking for sort of a length or two edge, and then the track's about a 4-length bias to the rail. I know the Summit came from the back, but you're still on the rail.
Still rail through.
So it was definitely rails and run at worst if you don't want to label it a leader's track, but it definitely was. And then, you go through some of those horses that did lead. I think four or five of them hadn't led at any start in this preparation, and then a few of them had never led in their life, and then all of a sudden, bang, straight to the front.
I mean, why wouldn't Keats is one of the maddest leaders in the state? He never led.
Yeah,
why did Slane's a leader, had to lead, handed up and gave the race to Magnuspin. Like, it's not as easy as, again, so we'll adjust and find the leaders because then they didn't lead.
I think Dicko had 7 off as the best part. That's why Keats didn't lead. Dicko walked the track and had 7 off as the best part.
Nasty.
Press release earlier, didn't you see it? There was a press release in the morning, 7 off. Going to be the nice row.
Been a big week. I see Curls retired. No press conference though.
No.
Bit going on in the Twitter sphere.
No, I don't know.
Who knows what's going on?
Who knows?
It's even changed names. X. Have you seen all that on Twitter?
Yeah. Elon, it's putting his stamp on it.
I keep losing my. I got lots of tabs open all the time. I keep losing where my Twitter tab is, so I'm looking at it less often. Might be a good thing.
You're travelling well in life when you paid $90 billion or something for a website to change the name of it.
Complete rebrand the whole thing
because you feel like it.
It's crazy, isn't it?
He's the best.
This is an interesting one that's got a lot of airtime on the Tweet or the X or whatever we're going to start calling it. Whip-free Big Bash style racing. Teams mic'd up, jockeys mic'd up, and trainers. So you're not allowed to hit the horse with the whip, but you're going to hear what the trainers and jockeys are saying. Simply, we'll go around the room. Are you for it or against it? And after you say yes or no, you're going to increase your turnover because of it, because it's a turnover sport.
Question number 1, though, is has anyone from Racing Victoria actually admitted to this, or actually anyone from the place said this is actual truth, or is it all just made up crap?
Don't know.
Because the only person
No,
I read it from
Mick Pride, they've signed NDAs, all the trainers. It's going to be the top 8 or 9 trainers, and they've signed NDAs to not discuss it. So they asked Mick Price about it Saturday morning, and he just said, yeah, sort of agree that something's in the works, but I can't really talk about it. So
no one's officially come out and said anything from Racing Victoria yet.
No, so this is all a bit speculative about all the different angles of it, but it seems it hasn't been made up. There is something afoot here, but it's going to be like a rapid racing day. It's going to be just some sort of different day, different aspect. I think it'd be a night meeting at Moonee Valley, the top trainers and jocks and whatever it is, and it's just, I don't know, they're going to be made for TV for the sound of it with all the mic'd up and stuff like that. So
none of that will happen. They can't mic up. There's no way in the world the insurance would be impossible. If someone fell off with someone in their ear and they died, it's game over for the whole game.
But in the mounting yard,
pre-race they
would.
Yeah.
Pre-race,
pre-race,
instructions.
I think that was a lot of because I was working for TRP and Racing.com at the time, I think that was a lot of the planning with rapid racing, and it just never kind of got over the line that way. But now they have much better infrastructure and all those kind of things. So I think something like that could work, whether it has to be this whip-free sort of racing and it's the top trainers and top jockeys. I did like Tom Sadler's tweet where he said top trainers, top jockeys, isn't that just a spring carnival? Like we've already got that. So I don't think they're looking too much sort of away from the obvious there. But I think there is a space where a concept like this could work, but what sort of has been at least rumoured does seem a bit odd at the moment, but I think there's something in the works. That
when they announce
something
it,
better. There's definitely something better to be done than rapid racing.
That's exactly right. And the coaching aspect, again, with the Dennis Pagan and all this, that didn't really work either.
No.
He's standing there revving up the jock. So I think they've taken learnings from that. And I think it's going to be an additional meeting, Scoot. So, it's just I don't know when they're going to do it. Might throw it on a Wednesday night or something, or who knows when. Middle of trying to get some eyes on the sport on racing.com on a Wednesday night or something, like a Happy Valley sort of thing. But so I think it's going to be an additional meeting. So whether it's drives turnover or not, it's an additional meeting.
Yeah, it sounds like you bikes are both for it down there.
I'm not just. I don't mind.
You can be.
Different. I don't mind. Like there's so many draconian dinosaurs in horse racing. I don't mind people thinking outside the box and trying something new. Now, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But at least they're trying something new rather than same. Which is, part of our industry has been same for donkeys. And anytime you try something new, the old stage is still in the industry. Just can't change that. Can't change this. Don't do that. I don't mind the concept. And the new bloke's ex-Big Bash, so he's thinking that fast young people getting eyes on the sport, that 18 to 35 age bracket. So he's obviously said, whoever goes, do Matt Welsh or something, have a look at this, put something together, this style, see what you can come up with. So, I'm not potting it, but can't pot it till you see it.
What about you, Grumpelstiltskin?
Oh,
well,
I probably won't even watch it, but more interested in the than the whip-free racing. That can't happen. That can't happen, or it's just a huge step backwards. So,
do you reckon the jockeys are nearly strike? On those
they
grounds?
should. They should. I think the Sydney. Well, I don't think it'll happen in Sydney, but they should.
Yeah,
I believe they should.
Yeah, it seems crazy. I don't know what that's going to achieve. People are either for or against racing. I don't think if you whip them or not, it'll do anything to change turnover, or someone's not just going to come out and watch this just because it's whip free. It's just opening up Pandora's box, and you can see Matt Chapman.
We can't put it back in.
No,
and everyone thinks that racing without whips, not a lot would change. A lot would change.
Yeah, you can see it over in the UK already happening. What were you going to say, DK?
I was just going to say, I think you're going to move on to it now. But David, one thing I took from the David Price article, and he was going out about Woker Gin, but there's another 60-plus-year-old bloke potting, something new. Was that why we keep calling it the whip? Why? Call it the persuader or the crop or something like that. The whip has that connotation, and it's a persuader. Jockey goes for the persuader. Jockey goes for the crop. They call it a crop in when UK or something, don't they? Persuader elsewhere. So the choice of words for the tool could help optics and stuff there for sure.
I think that makes a little bit more sense, just to sort of get the naysayers or just block out a bit of the noise. So I think they need to stand their ground, and that's definitely one thing.
I've never heard any noise except from us.
Well, exactly. We make our own noise. Shoot ourselves in the foot.
Geez, I don't watch horse racing because they whip them. I've never heard anyone say that in my life.
No, I haven't either. Not at all. Most of the people that don't bet that I know, they can't figure out how to bet, and they say it's too complicated and too hard. Or they just don't like gambling, full stop.
Which
the
is
whole
fine.
game's...
No problem. Yeah, that's right. It's just each to their own, but I've never heard anyone say it's because of a crop or a persuader or a whip.
And Tony McAvoy said, well, as long as turnover is the whole point of it, that's what we need to be doing. And it's the same with sort of the lines that David Price was talking about. He'd know he's got 100 horses and he's been in the game forever. So I don't know. I think it's a positive to try something new. I think the whip's no good. And then turnover, I don't think anyone's going to bet more or less because of it. I think it'll just be much the same and much the same sort of people sort of betting on it. But that's enough of that one. But WorkCover Premium seem to be smashing trainers. Well, it seems to be two schools of thought here. So there's some trainers that haven't clued on that you just pass the cost over to owners. So it's some owners are copying $2.50 a day or anywhere between $25 and $70 a month onto their horse bills, or it's just getting massaged into the cost of training their horse.
Yeah, it's not clued on to not doing it. They just don't believe their owners can afford to pay anymore in a lot of cases. And up here, I think it's even worse. They said like this new Gold Coast development up here, they said the work cover on top of it's just out of control on top of box rent and other things that are, pretty constant costs they can't avoid. And they've got to kind of pass it on. But, like some stables are more brazen, aren't they? Because they probably think they're untouchable and their bills are so big that it just gets lost in the ruck. But the little guys that don't have the big syndicates and owners behind them try and sort of keep it as cost effective as possible. And now they kind of have to pass it on because otherwise they're going to be out of business.
Splat. What do you reckon about this one, Nico? I guess you're a bit closer to the trainers here with your old man. And
I haven't really talked to him about it, but his business model is a lot different to other trainers. He does a lot more sort of pre-training and just training horses at the beach and those kind of things compared to someone that's probably running a similar model to him with the same amount of horses that's actually training them all themselves. So, yeah, I think listening to the radio coming in on RSN, I think it's going to have a lot bigger impact on, say, harness racing by the sounds of things than probably horse racing. They sound in a pretty dire sort of state there with their budget cuts as well. So, it would definitely be interesting times. But like you said, the big stables probably just pass it on. If you're probably more competitive, you're looking to probably absorb it and still keep your costs kind of low. But maybe there's something that comes with, less staff there or something like that. So it's definitely a flow-on effect for sure.
It's a very complex issue from what I've been hearing and reading about it. And it's not just racing, it's the whole. It's all businesses across the state. The government's broke. It's gone crazy on its overspending on all those projects, and now it's trying to reel money back in. And it already subsidised WorkCover to $1 billion, and it's tapped out at $1 billion, and said no. And that's why all the premiums have gone up in every industry, not just horse racing, and and it's, as I said, it's the smaller to medium guys. Simon Zara saying he's just doubled from 70 grand to 140 grand or something like that. It's a lot of money for a middle tier joint, and you can say that New South Wales run their own and all this sort of stuff, but there's pros and cons of that, I believe. They aggressively pursue claimants and don't pay out as much and things like that, so it's not ideal. But I wonder if all the trainers put up their fees, of course. I wonder if Pete Moody put his up. He's already $200 a day. He knew he'd absorb it. $200 a day. No, he knew that. Just absorb it in the training fees.
Crazy, isn't it?
$200 a day doesn't touch the sides in Sydney.
200.
No, it's 170 or something, but it's not really. That's the base, and then you've got 700 million things on top of it. The problem is the country provincial guys are the ones paying the same premiums as the people in the city here, and it's harder to get staff. They're paying double for staff that what city staff are paying, and they're the ones that are trying to keep their costs down. So it's just...
Oh, that's right. Yeah, Ben Brisbane was saying that, but because he's up at Wangaratta, and he was sort of saying that he's got to keep his prices down for country people, but still at the same sort of costs. But I mean, the prize money's gone up. How much?
100%.
$2.50.
And trainers are on the bones of their ass. It just doesn't make sense.
But have at $6 million this rise, that whatever it was in Sydney, what does that do really? Your super maidens, it gives you an extra 5 or 10 grand or something to the winner in these areas. What does that pay? A month's training fee, 2 months training fee. It's not like it's not a negative. I'm not bagging it, but it's not life changing. And
the same thing, right? You'd know through your contacts with trainers. And I remember my Peter Morgan, when I used to speak to him 10 years ago. He's given it away now, but 10 and that years ago, he said training fees, but even back then and be now, just all they do is cover basic expenses. He said you only get an earn out of your 10%. It's the only way you get an earn, and that's what Zara said the other day. Just got to put the training fee to align with all your expenses. There's no cream on top for most of the trainers out of the training fees. Nothing.
And this $6.5 million, the big press conference and stuff, all it does is put up the prices for tried horses on Inglis that they try and buy and take out to the country, so it's making them more expensive, and then yearlings and everything doesn't help with those prices. Prices them out of buying these sort of second market
Inflation
half-decent
everywhere.
horses they can make an earn from just to try and win an extra 5,000. And now you've got a country maiden worth 100. I'm tipping it's not going to be full of country horses either. So it's, they're not negatives, but they're not huge positives when you really look at it for most of the trainers.
Won't go on too much further about it because we know. But the one thing that harness racing bloke did let slip on the radio this morning, Nico, was that wagering's down 10% across the board, all codes. So, that's he let slip that. He's in at HRV, which is in the Racing Victoria offices. They're based on the same thing. So they've made their cuts. They've come up and said, right, but they've trimmed their fat and cut some prize money, and I don't think they'll be the Lone Rangers.
No,
They
Cost of
shouldn't
living
be.
crisis, 7% inflation, mate. I'm telling you.
10% is the tip of the iceberg. Tip of the iceberg.
There could be a couple of jurisdictions that are complete house of cards, but I guess that'll be shown and proven in time. Aaron Bullock reigns supreme, huge effort. What sets him apart from his the other riders, Walt, in his areas?
He just keeps it simple. It's taken him a long time. Obviously, I had a pretty close connection with him for quite a while, and he used to try and ride 56 and keep the trainers happy to, especially he was riding a lot for Chris Lees and doing 5-6 days a week, and he to maintain 58, he basically has to sit in the bath and run 10 to 15 k's a day in a wetsuit. So that's that's to get to 58. Then he cuts the 58 back to 56 in the bath. So now basically 57 is as low as he goes. Tries to keep it to 58 90% of the time. Tries to ride probably 20% fewer meetings. And he's worked out that works for him, and he can maintain that during a sort of, probably 11 months. He always needs a little break. And I see that after Tari on Monday, he was in the ski fields within 24 hours. So well-earned break for Aaron, but he's worked out what he does. He's a strange rider. Like he hates leading, which, everyone knows the sort of further forward you go, the better it is statistically. But he hates it with a passion. He likes to box seat 90% of his horses and sort of let the other riders make the mistakes and pick up the pieces and just trust his ability to be strong late on them. And he's ridden 200 winners at 25% or something. It's a pretty strong effort. I know Jimmy Orman, great effort from him too, but I think he'd ridden sort of 200 plus more rides than Aaron over the year. So, yeah, it's pretty hard to knock Aaron. And your question about, the tax, it's just the sort of horse he rides. I think if you've got a horse that sort of can get on speed but needs really encouraging, he's one person who you can justify the tax you pay for them. A horse that sort of gets out the back that has a turn of foot or whatever and maybe a little bit overhyped, you're probably not looking to gain much of an advantage from Aaron on those horses. So particular horses, he can lift them, and he'd be a perfect example of if there was no whip, he'd be interesting to look at because he's so strong physically. He may actually improve compared to others who need a little bit of the persuader or whatever you want to call it to get the horse into a quickened rhythm, whereas he can sort of lift them physically. It'd be interesting to see.
It's crazy. If you just look at their his ROI, flat staking, these stats are courtesy of punting form, flat staking of his last 50 rides, 13 winners at 24%, 56th a place, and so you're only doing 5% if you just flat stake all these.
And
that's crazy.
I had a horse in Atari, and
Crazy
it was
good.
40s.
Yep.
Aaron went on late, like the day after or whatever. It was like 40s to 11s in 10 minutes with him. So they're just smashing him on all runners. And it got back out.
Was it
20s.
Brendan's Hope?
My horse?
Yeah.
No, head spins.
Oh, was it?
Yeah. It was in front with 100 to go. I'd bet up on it at $6 a place, and it ran a nice fifth. It was good to watch. But he gave it every hope, as he does most of his horses. But there's definitely a tax applied to him now, but he can ride through it, as you said, to get within 5%, considering the amount of, and that if you got the best price on those horses, I've got no doubt that you'd be well in profit.
Outstanding. No, it was good to see. It
was fun, wasn't it?
Oh,
everyone bitches
everyone was
on they should be trying for their ass all the time. They're not. A lot of them are going around. A lot of them are not, fully committed to every ride. And it's just great to see a couple of jockeys who were fully committed for a month.
Yeah. Yeah, well, because I think we spoke about it. I don't know if it was on air, off air. It doesn't really matter. But they only have to ride one or two, don't they? And then they get paid to go for the meeting anyway. And there's some
and they get $260 a ride or whatever it is. So you ride 20 horses a week and run last on them. There's 5,000. Yeah. I know that's not 5,000 in their pocket, but it's 5,000 in earnings for the week. It's pretty hard to do that anywhere else without having to perform.
But isn't there an incentive for them not to take too many rides? provincial tracks or something?
Yeah,
There's
it's
a
depending
little
on the
loophole.
amount of travel, and there's all sorts of rules, and I think every state's different too. But it's there's certainly top ups and travel allowances and minimums and all sorts of things that they can take advantage of if they choose to.
Yeah, a couple of little tricks. Anyway, we might discuss that on next week's show or further down the track. Today's show is going to be a beauty. Donnie's back with his little send-in videos. Wolf Moon was a beauty for the syndicate yesterday. It was off the map, and he's got Eagle Farm this Saturday. Walt, Insurrection gave you an erection last week. You got Rosehill, a little bit of rain around Saturday itself. Nico, Milford and Superstock, complete, did not participate, and good meeting to sort of review there.
Yeah, Milford still should have won.
Should have won, Milford.
So,
Just can't jump over him, can you?
we'll
sick,
forget about
wasn't
that
it?
day. Yeah.
Who was it? Carleen just wrote it at like 11 out of 10 to beat you there.
Not
remember.
really, shitty.
A
just
lot of bets
we
to
got
go.
stuck in behind Irish Flat. Like, that was the horse that the bias was most pronounced on. Like, he hadn't finished within, I think, eight lengths of the winner, and then all of a sudden he's battling out in the finish because he's in the best ground, and he was gone at the 800. Like, we just couldn't get around him. That was a sick watch. Anyway.
Yeah, I think I only started tuning in for the last 2 or 3 races. It was just diabolical, wasn't it? You got Flemington this Saturday. Az is still on holidays. DK, you picked it like a dirty nose. His horse won.
He extended holidays now after the first
He's got
starter.
too much. He's got too much. And that was an absolute beauty over in Adelaide. I don't know if you were watching or you bet, DK, but my favourite, me and Johnny Kelton lined up on exploring, and then we were scratched at the gates in a sensation. Wasn't really sensational. And then I think your horse still popped 440 SP and the totes, old Cliffy Brown.
Cliffy Brown,
Lardonnaise
mate.
Rouge.
No,
Hey?
good trainer, Cliffy Brown. Straight away, he had a winner yesterday, knocked over, didn't he, Nick?
Scorsese, yeah.
Of course, knocked over a shorty yesterday. No, good trainer, Cliffy Brown. So if you sort of tune into one, it's like Philip Stokes. You like one, and he trains it. Put a little bit more on.
Great little set up there, and nice read there.
See, there's an
DK.
Adelaide horse snuck over into Rosehill on Saturday. A little sprinter, 1,000-metre horse or something.
Yeah, right.
I haven't seen that for a while.
Yeah, you're not going to preview it?
I'm not going to preview the Adelaide horse. Give it the Gordo pen.
Hey?
Give it the Gordo pen.
TopSport Steam is there back in business. Tazarel hit the board there. They could be on a roll. They could be back in business there. Make sure you check out TopSport. They're Australian owned and operated. They've been in the game for about 40 years. Lloyd has now handed the baton over to Tristan and Letitia there, and they're Australia's fairest bookie. So make sure you give them an opportunity. Topsport.com.au. And Nico, I think we're going to open the batting with you. DK keeps telling us how good the weather is, but I checked last night, 2 to 10 mil, possibly on Friday, which will just take the edge off the track nicely there. And we're going to have a look at race 6, which is the Simon Green Plate over 2,000 metres. Aristonos is a favourite here. One of Walt's horses, Annabelle Train, $4.20. Shahar is $4.60. Wascally, $7.50. Mayfair Spirit, $10. As Good as Burgett's, $11. Court Deep, $12. And Trossetti is $12.
As good as sober gets, mate. Sober.
Yeah. Is it?
Yeah, as good as sober gets.
Oh.
Yeah, not
Okay,
hammered.
cool. Trossetti, $12. The Nephew, $12. Blue Cup, $13. And $18 a bit of the rest. Aristonius or Aristi.
A wrist job.
Aristi. This is the horse that you like, Nico. Tell us why.
Oh, he didn't have much chance this day. He was last at Caulfield. He's absolutely smashing the betting. 225, comes widest runner here on the turn. Still comes home the quickest closing last 200 metres of the race. Dominated up on speed with Thorin just keep running. I think this Caulfield sort of 1,600 to 2,000, when they go fast, it is very hard to make ground, especially in these off-season races. And I thought he did a pretty good job here to sort of stick on the way he did. He still comes home pretty strong. There would be some sort of reservation, or he could be a little bit flat out of this because he did a lot of work, but he has had 26 days off between runs. Walt would know him from his win back there at Randwick 2 starts ago, where he just sat at the back and looped him up. All of his runs here in Australia have been, I think, very good. I think he's a horse that's probably destined for better class of racing than this, and I think for barrier number 2, there is a real opportunity. Dan Yendall can position him closer in the run. So I did note he is double accepted in Sydney as well, but he's going to 2,400 there. So with the gap between runs, maybe they look to come to Melbourne. But I just thought if he comes here, I have a bit of time for Shahaya. We had a really good crack at him 2 starts ago when he won. He just does a little bit wrong. I think Aristonius potentially has more upside. And then you look at the rest of the field. Well, Scully was good last start, but he's coming out of sort of midweek racing, and There's not much else here. So I think Aristonius is a horse. If he won this race, I think he could definitely take the jump up to sort of open class. And then that's not a huge jump up at this time of year to say sort of win his way into sort of a Bart Cummings or a race like that. And I think that will be definitely a plan for this sort of horse, looking to target those early spring races. So if he's as good as a few people think he is, like myself, I think he should be winning this race. So I thought $4.20 was pretty generous if he's here.
Yeah, he's a nice horse. That was just
Josh was on him last start.
Went wrong. Yeah, he just looked like there was going to be a bit of tempo in that race, and there was for about 200 metres, and they just pulled up stumps. So yeah, I don't think Josh could have done much about it, but it was a very nice barrier trial for a race like this, that's for sure.
So it looks like Collett's got the ride if they go Sydney way, and then no rider nominated.
I'd be surprised if surely it goes to Melbourne.
Go?
Surely it goes to Melbourne.
Yeah.
What's the name? Is it what stables are they?
I think Yendel's got the ride, Nico.
Yeah, Yendel. Yeah, it's Yendel.
Yeah, lovely. Love Dano's in the zone. Just absolutely killing it in the bush, isn't he, DK? He's not. Yeah. He's pretty much come out and said he's not going to ride any camels. You got to be in the market if you want me to ride your horse. So
I love that. I read that. Yeah, that was great.
He's a beauty.
He's a good chance if he's there.
Good slow the cannons. And then race 3 up in Sydney. We might just back him anywhere he goes. Just follow it with a lot of confidence. Race 7 is the Aurie Star over 1,200 metres. It's Our Time is the favourite at TopSport. Cause for concern, 420. General Bow, Little Bridesmaid there, 550. Much, much better. 7 here to Shock, $9.50. Zethius is $11. Chassis is $13. Dance to Buy, $13. Bit of a market move there in from $18. And then Umgawa, $20. Mr. Exclusive, $21. It's Our Time, you think deserves another chance, Nico?
Yeah, well, he didn't have much chance here either on this day. This was a tough day to be sort of coming wide at Caulfield. Look, sort of General Bow fence, Nicolini Vito fence, Ingratiating was fence, and he comes widest in the straight. Flashes home in the quickest closing splits of the race. The race didn't rate through the roof, but it was a soft track, and I just wonder if the slow early tempo didn't sort of help that. He absolutely rips home here late. I think the key to this horse might be strong, aggressive riders like Ben Allen. Mick D goes aboard on Saturday. He sort of hit the ground running there with the Summit, but the last time this horse won, Mick D actually rode him, and it was down the straight in, I think, the straight 6. So very similar sort of race. Is super consistent. There probably is a little bit of cat in him, but I think a rider like MD, given he's had that sit on him before, got the best out of him. I thought this is a horse that was really well in. He drops in weight. He loves the straight, and I think that lead-up form is potentially a little bit better than some people are sort of rating it. I couldn't really come into cause for concern. I know he's been extremely consistent this campaign, but he brings in 3-year-old form. His figures aren't that strong relative to, the levels that sort of It's Our Time and General Bow and a few others have sort of hit. So I thought the main danger was Ingratiating. He's come out and gone to Sydney. So I think It's Our Time finds a really good setup. He's a horse you're going to get. You know what you're going to get with him. He's probably going to be somewhere in the finish. He's going to need a little bit of luck to win, but I think at around $4 for a horse that's completely in the zone, drops in the weight and gets his favourite conditions with a rider that's got a good association with him. I think he's a pretty attractive bet.
Anyone got? Oh, yeah, interesting. Cause for concern. Did he? I'm just not sure if I know he won the race last time against Legio 10, but did he really want the 1400? And
back to 12 is definitely
12,
a positive for him. Hard fit, Johnny
me.
on the spot. He's going to run well.
Yeah,
it's just the start before probably showed up whether he's got the ability to sort of race through the classes and get to a higher level, and it was a little bit found wanting. So I kind of agree with Nico. He's just extremely well set up fitness wise, and he's going to run well. It's just a matter of how high his level is. That's for sure. If he's not up to the class, this will probably show him out.
Then what about Zethus? Down from Sydney, got the Omni-Man
it's just
form.
A horse.
No good.
He's probably a little bit deadly. Like he kind of had a bye last day. He didn't really participate at all. Just sort of went back to the inside lanes, and then his run prior at Flemington, he ran third to It's Our Time. So gets B Shin on. He's definitely a horse. If he bought his best, he's in play. But again, he's not the most prolific winner either. So I think he'd probably be a horse you'd elevate, given I think B Shin goes aboard there. But It's Our Time, given he's only given 1.5 kilos to cause for concern and brings in much better form at the track and distance and just overall, I think it's his day on Saturday. That's his race.
Outstanding. DK, nothing to add there?
No, leave that down the straight Flemington stuff to Nico.
The DK races might be these aspirin races. No, race 2.
I reckon race 10. Oh, you talk about race 2. That's the Prodigal
all
Son
the
in
country
Australia.
horses.
Oh, is it? Oh, I never looked. Who's in there? Maiden winners? All maiden winners?
All sorts of horses.
Anything I'd know, Nick? Is there? Okay.
Oh, your horse, in her stride. She's in there.
In her stride.
You're a big fan back in the day.
I backed her in the stream one day. One of Peach Hours ran her down at Hamilton in the maiden after it was in front 3 links. Oh, yeah, I remember it. In her stride. Anyway.
You might be
New
able to chime in there for the new few weeks.
New trainer up there at that joint, isn't there? Those Salinitris or whatever.
Oh, yeah, Vince Malady goes
Vince
into
Malady,
Tilden.
This is an interesting jockey. I know you're big on jockeys, DK. Flemington race 10. We see Benedetta return for the Jason Warren camp. Nice sprinting filly. And Tatum Bull's been booked 3 kilo claim. And Wirramoo Pin, he must be up the snow with Bullock. He must have gone skiing, claiming the 2 kilos. Wirramoo Pin. What's going on booking Tatum Bull here?
I think Joe Warren, he's more a reward the work riders, and she must have done some work. Like, wasn't she Stackhouse's partner or something? And he's the main rider in the stable, so they probably go down there and ride work together. That's what I mean. I remember P. Morgan used to say to me, well, why would I put W. Pin on? What's he done for me? I don't even know the bloke. Why would I put him on? Here's a girl riding 10 in the morning and work for me. I'll put her on. You know, some of them are just much more loyal than others, and I'd say there's a bit of loyalty there, and she's got the claim. And anyway, but that's I'm tipping that's Joe Warren's thing. Fuck, why would I put W. Pin on? Never used him. Don't know him. He doesn't talk to me. He hasn't rung up for the ride. You know, something like that. So
Trying to win the race.
They dodged
just has to sit on that.
No, I'm not saying. I'm just saying in general. I'm just saying loyalty is the most overrated thing in history when it comes to trainers and jockeys.
Yeah.
Because jockeys aren't
true.
loyal to trainers.
No, they're not. As soon as they're fast horse, they just jump off. And
Just because they give them a little reach around doesn't mean they're loyal.
wasn't there a Tatum Bull? Was it Willow on, Bull off, and it was a Nicky Burke horse that won on Saturday? I know it was bias assisted. What was it called?
Yeah, Lavore.
Levore.
Yeah.
Yeah, that needed. Like some horses need to be bashed. They need a strong rider. You know what I mean? Like Froggy replacing a
Froggy needs to be
T-ball or
bashed.
something.
I agree with that. Yeah.
This horse, yeah, Froggy. This horse is just you just got to sit on the thing, especially going down the straight. Just steer it. We saw D Holland do that in Group 1. Just steer the thing. So, and they've got a bit of class on their side. I mean, who rides it?
Maybe they got it sort of arse up, this little big bash racing. The motto should be just some horses need to be bashed and they need to whip more often. Not whip free.
Didn't they put up $4 this horse or something? Someone did or something?
Hey?
Didn't someone put up $4
Apparently
this horse?
$6.50. It doesn't.
$6.50.
Must have been one of those ones
No,
that
it was
put the wrong odds near the wrong number.
It was
Was
a
it?
malfunction.
Oh.
It went
God,
up
big
like
malfunction.
2:30 or whatever, and then it got back out at like
Palpable.
6 o'clock to 6:50.
Palpable error.
And then it was all in favour for the Aurie Star, and then they've dodged that
Dodged
to
that
run
and
in
gone
that
to
race.
the-
So I would, if I was backing it, I'd rather back it with 60 with Stacky, but each to their own.
It's going to be great. You're going to be there. And if you want Nico's Mounting Yard mail, 3 to 5 minutes pre-race. So Flemington will be a much better scenario than the Valley last week. So make sure you jump on board, $25 a week. It is outstanding. It's my turn now. I'm back in the chair. I had a moral for Adelaide because Az is still away. He's counting all his cash from last week. And my moral from Adelaide's been scratched, so I've had to do an extra little bit of form here. So I'm going to go to Eagle Farm because it's a Queensland show, as DK continues to remind us. And it is race 6 at Eagle Farm. Zarastro is the favourite here, $1.90 for the Golan and Ormond camp. So we've got second start for Golan here. Aura Bent is $5.50. Corona Lad $6. Our Magnus $8.50. Northern Express is $9, and then Subterranean is $18 here. So let's have a look at the last start replay of Zarastro. And it's just in the black with the gold stars sort of leading them up here, and it just sort of gets run down. So Release the Beans and Kosciuszko have come through the race, and
How home is it?
I thought it was home, so might have just been a bit soft. And it's an interesting one. This is Heatchote that sort of reels it in. You got Release the Beans in the blue with the white, sort of roaring home. It's a month between runs, but this horse often does that, and I think 1,200 metres is as far as it wants, but it looks like it's got the perfect setup. I think it loses Ryan Maloney and it gets James Orman, which is good. So I'm tipping Golan's left a little bit in this horse. Month between runs, no drama, and I think this is the horse that you can probably save on. It's called Northern Express. So
It's $1.90. You save it on something.
well, I think it's nearly a good thing. And then I think the horse in the purple out the back with the white blinkers is going super. He was really good first up at the Sunshine Coast. He gets off their heels here, and Freedom Rally's the horse that bolts in here. You got Vodka Martini that runs second, and I think that form's good enough for to be a bit of a danger here. So I think the horse is about $11. So you can bet up Zarastro with confidence, and then you could have a little saver, and the Joker in the pack sort of Northern Express. So back both, and you'll get a good result. You can do that. You can back the
Can't
favourite.
take 10 to 9 and be back in
Yeah,
10
you
to $8. What the? Jeez.
Well, there's only 2 hopes in the race.
All the bet's not a bad horse.
Hey?
All right, good luck.
All right, thanks. Anyway, puntingform.com.au, that's how I do the form. Sectionals, very reliable. How's racing.com going with their sectionals? I noticed a few tweets in the last couple of days that sectional times are missing from country tracks in Victoria. DK.
Cast, completely cast. Since the 9th to the 11th, there hasn't been any Victorian provincial sectional times on the website. I contacted them and said, what the hell's going on here? And I don't know, they disappeared into the abyss. I don't know what's happened there. Yep, so at least that's not punting form reliable, because I don't know what's going on with Cardi or wherever else they've been a blue, or who knows what's going on there. But anyway, no good. So punting form if you want reliable sectionals.
Beautiful. Outstanding. Could be an opportunity for punting form just to slip in there at racing.com and assert themselves. They're already the dominant sectional provider, and that'll just be more icing on the cake. Walty, Saturday, 7 mils at Rosehill.
Huh?
Is it Rosehill?
7 mils.
Up to 7 mils on Saturday. Bit of rain, but you've got clear all
I looked at it
all
2 or
in the
3
lead up, and then anywhere between 2 and 7 mil.
Interesting. No, I had a good look to see whether there's any rain, and nothing I saw said rain. So definitely not what I've set up for, but true rail, which is interesting. But if there is, I actually hope there is a little bit, because obviously that fence has been pretty dynamite, and for the fence to be dynamite on a true rail, it normally has to be very firm. So a little bit of rain might even things up and make life more acceptable for everybody.
You're not happy with the card, are you?
Oh, it's pretty average. Tough betting card, like all these races, highways and whatever. They're not bad, but they're just 20 runners and 12 jockeys that should be not riding in town. So it makes things very difficult often. But,
Great.
We just deal with what we get served up. Doesn't matter. Race the race.
Rosehill Race 6 is your best of the day. It's a 1350 metre event, the Jockey Celebration Day. So that's why I've chosen it. King of Naples is the favourite, $3. Wadigoes is $4. Regal Pom $4.80. O Tycoon $7.50. Saomi is $8. Exelitis is $9.50. You'd be getting dizzy, that horse. Running Bear is $21. And Bluff and Bluster, 21, and then 4 Victory, 26. Wadigoes is the horse that you like. Bjorn Bakeyard, Jay Collett. Seems to be getting a lot of good rides at the moment. Jay Collett sitting outside the leader here. Brudenell leading.
Well, Collett probably won the race by asserting himself here and sitting outside the leader. Brudenell, obviously pretty fast horse that had good form, insurrection form. Wadigoes ran behind it first up in the 1100 and sort of just ground away, found the line. A good sign that this horse can sit outside a slow tempo and run down a horse like Brudenell. Love horses that can sit outside the leader and win. You got Guevara down the outside, who's got a very sharp turn of foot, was absolutely suited by the slow tempo, obviously not suited by getting so far back, but that's why it was able to close on Wadigoes. Hopefully he does the same thing here and asserts himself and goes to the front. I think that's the key. And then, it's up to James McDonald whether he sort of presses forward on King of Naples, but I don't want to see him hand up to King of Naples from the wide draw and allow it to go to the front. Then I think King of Naples will probably be very hard to beat. But if Wadigoes finds the front, it's a winner out to 1550. I don't think he wants that far. I think 1350 at this stage of his preparation is perfect. I hope he just leads, rolls along a touch and makes it a chase, not a race. And I think he'll be extremely hard to beat. The stablemate O Tycoon to me is a horse that's bursting to win a race, but I just think Schumacher from an awkward draw will probably get too far back again on it. But I don't want to let it get under my guard. But I think the top two are the clear top picks, and I just hope that Collett uses his draw to assert himself. The same as he did last start, you just assume that he's seen what this horse can do for an up on pace. It's tough. It's not going to, sprint off a dime. It just needs to sort of set an even tempo and put the others to the sword around it, and I think it'll be very hard to beat. Bet up.
Beautiful. I'm going to just pop one on you and everyone, really. Race 8 is the Missile Stakes over 1,200 metres. Big Parade, $3. It was nominated, I think,
22 length trial win.
Yeah.
It was nominated up in Brisbane. I think it had 2 trials.
It was
in
entitled
Brisbane.
to win that trial.
Yeah, well, it actually didn't go that quick. It's quite interesting because a lot of Bjorns do it off the time and they run outrageous times. I think they only went about 4 or 5 lengths above a standard time for that class for the trial. So it looked like a monstrous win, but and it looked like it sort of burnt the candle. It was actually, if they ran fast time, I'd be concerned the horse was completely cast and it was a lawnmower trial, but they didn't. So anyway,
IME's in the race, Ingratiating, Golden Mile, couple of blue jackets for Nico, Deepaw, backs up, you called it. We Will Rock, Argentia first up, Rocketing By, Dragonstone, Fender.
Most of these horses are sort of 1,200 max except for Golden Mile, but I think it's probably looking for hurdles. Big Parade, 1,200 max horse, does have a good 1,200 metre record, obviously 400 odd day break, new trainer. He said 2 trials, looked like it was trying to get up to Brisbane, not sure what happened there, another 2 trials since. I think IME's definitely the horse that's got pure upside, and if it holds out Big Parade and it has to sit outside IME, and then probably the only other fly in the ointment there's We Will Rock, but it did take a sit the other day in that riderless horse race. If it sort of drops in behind, which is what I'd be expecting it to do with Big Parade drawn 4, it just sort of slots in behind it. IME, Big Parade control the race. That probably is the end of the race, and then I'd be leaning to IME as being the one to beat here pretty comfortably. I know that there's sort of JP was really happy with Big Parade before that Brisbane scratching. I haven't spoken to him recently about the horse, but I'm worried about it myself. I think a horse that's been up for such a long time. I think I'd rather be with the fresh horse that's got huge upside in IME from gate 1 and Timmy. He's going to have options if they go quick. He can take a sit. He's got to turn a foot. He's got everything. I didn't think Golden Miles trials were that great. Ingratiating. Where does it get to from 9? I love this. The old non-claiming apprentice in a listed race. Like what the heck? Deepaw, no. Argentia is very interesting first up for the new stable, but its trials weren't sort of dynamic either. I think the top 2 should lead control and have it between them.
Nico, you horned up anything in a blue jacket there?
Ingratiating would be the one if you had to pick one. I agree with Walt. Golden Mile, he might not be looking for steeples, but he's probably looking for further than 1,200 metres. I think you'd probably bet up IME if it was 1,100. 1,200 is probably the end of her. That's probably a max. Big Parade, like everyone's going to rave about the trial win, but he could be completely overbet off it. He probably was early, $2.70 out to $3 already. So I think that's factored in. I don't know. You don't see many of them win when they win by sort of 10 lengths plus in the trials. So it's something I've sort of had a bit of a theory about recently. I don't know what you sort of think about that, DK, but when they absolutely bolt in their trials, it's they just seem to be a bit flat after sometimes, I reckon.
Yeah, leave it on the track. Yeah.
Although Walt said he didn't go out and smash the clock, but that's probably just my theory. So yeah, 1,100 you'd probably eye me, but 1,200 bit of speed. Maybe it does bring in Ingratiating, who's the fit horse. I don't know. It's a bit of a trappy race. I don't want to back Big Parade though. I think I know that much.
Scary. I've 7 trials for Big Parade. Like last seen on race day in the Hallmark in April, and then he's had 7 trials between then and now. That's Danger Will Robinson, as you'd say, Walty.
Surely.
Scary.
And, nothing untoward, but when they do control a race, these 2 boys, they don't normally carve each other to pieces. And, and it normally, the better horse wins out of the 2. They normally control races pretty well when they're the 2 speed runners. They're good at them. And again, it's nothing untoward because they're just good at rating leaders. They do it a lot.
Oh, we're going to see a good little contest there. If you want more of Johnny's action across New South Wales, make sure you head to racingwatch.com.au and you can get in the Telegram, or you get the Telegram, or you can jump in the Discord chat and talk to other like-minded punters. It's time for Donny's best. Kanazawa loomed to win last week, but saw a saucer of milk and just started lapping that up and just failed to run past. So a bit sick there for Donny, but hopefully he's got a couple of winners this week.
G'day boys, Johnny here with the best bets this weekend. We're back to Eagle Farm. Great track to bet on. I think it's a nice betting program this weekend, so I've got a few bets lined up. I'm pretty keen to start the day in race 1, Rainbow Connection for the informed Mutt Dunn stable. Won first up last prep over 1,000, then went to Sydney, much stronger grades here. Had a few nice trials, looks to map well. I think it's around 360, 370, looks a nice price. So happy to have a bet on Rainbow Connection in race 1. Then we go to race 6. The resto looks immoral. Lead and win, $2.05 with sports bet. Then the lucky in the 8th, Major Artie. It's about 350 as well. I think first up in Sydney, just action didn't look right. It's 2 trials before that. We're very sharp. Should lead here and give a mighty sight. They're the 3 best. They all should be winning. Take the multi, take the doubles, take the Trixie. Good luck.
Very
No
confident.
saving for Donny, brother.
Hey, he's
no
just chips
saving
in.
for Donny.
I haven't done the race, the first race, Rainbow Connection race, but Donny's record, and Nico will attest to this, he's very good at 1,000-metre races. This is definitely Donny's wheelhouse, so Rainbow Connection's a good one there. Zarastro, I agree with that one. The major Aurie one's an interesting one, because I thought Better Get Set goes okay. I have to dig deeper there, but I thought Roman Aureus, CJ Graham claiming 2. I thought that horse is going pretty good, and $6 seemed to be a decent price for it. So I'd say Roman Aureus is a massive, massive danger. It brings some of the, I think,
Rocky form.
yeah, won the Rocky race, beat that Princess Tenko, and then I thought it did okay last start at Doomben
It's in
behind
the right spot in
Bonaparte.
that Rocky race. I know that it was in the. It sort of won that race bit by a bit of an act of God win, but first up and whatever, it was well graded that race.
Is Wakefield the betting? They don't mind have a bet or set them up, do they?
Brian Wakefield, don't know a lot about him, but I wouldn't be loading one up at CJ on it to have a bet personally.
Yeah, I think that's a danger. But Donny sounds very, very bullish. Doubles, trebles, every which way. So he's going to be knee deep. He's an excitement machine, Donny.
I'm tipping he'll be knee deep before Saturday as well, too, just quietly.
TopSport Steamers, the early plays up at Tristan's place. Tazarel last week from the Snowden team. And this week we've got a couple at Eagle Farm. Race 2, number 4 is Oita.
He's a sneaky good horse at Tazarel too, just quietly. He's 2 good wins. He might have a little mile big handicap race in him. Anyway.
Yeah, it was, Chad. He just had to steer it straight, and home it went bush down the outside. I think this is a Waller runner. This one. This is Lucky 333 at $7. So little MBL job there. Race 9, Eagle Farm number 5, Beaufort Park. This is a pretty competitive race.
That's a good bet.
That's not my. It's definitely not my bet, but
100% good bet.
I swear to God, I'll show you guys my accounts if you like. But
I'm not worried about your accounts. I'm worried about the account the bet was on.
Hey,
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
I actually thought the race for it was
Curtly
last
Ambrose's
time.
account.
No.
Yeah.
I actually thought that Beaufort Park's race was last start, so I think maybe a mile.
Well, you usually
As
won
far
early,
as-
so that's probably it. You're
Yeah.
smart to be backing up again.
Anyway, I think it's into about $14. But if you want to back Beaufort Park, it'll drift again.
Wasn't my bet, but I know the flux on it.
No,
Yeah.
I'd tell you this horse will drift again.
Okay, mate.
I didn't back it. It's
Just
not
own
my
up
bet.
to it, mate.
Go away.
Tristan, whoever that counter was, check it. Curtly
I think
off a long
that's
run.
a really open race. I didn't want to bet early in that one, so I think there's a couple of good chances there. Flemington race 9, number 9 is Poland 333 at $7. He might be
Find a
trolling
leader.
us here, Tristan. But yeah, what do you reckon about this one, Nico?
He probably goes to the front, gets beat shin, but he hasn't won for a while, so that's probably the knock with Poland.
Berrakili Square comes back fresh. Anything from its trials?
Did jump
Trial-
out
trial good.
well, yeah. Sort of hit the line strongly at Ballarat. He's a class horse. I don't know. Dan,
He was very confident on the radio.
he was pretty confident, but he is sort of talking Caulfield Cups and Cox Plate, so it's pretty early to be winning if you want to be aiming at races like that. I'll be interested to see him in the yard because I think we had a max bet on him the day he won the Vars, so obviously got a bit of an opinion of him, but maybe over that sort of distance again, not first up over 1,400.
And speaking of jockeys and merry-go-round, the owners gave Williams Craig the lemonade. Give him the lemonade. So a new rider for it, John McNeil this prep.
I'd say outside of that horse, that race is anyone's, isn't it, Nico?
Yeah, it's up for grabs.
It's it or open.
Yep.
He expects it to win. Turned down O'Sullivan. So
Well, it doesn't have to be that good to beat those. Could just
Nah.
win by default.
Could do. Yeah, I thought the other interesting runner in that race is Devoted, who we talked about a bit sort of over the summer when he was trying to get his way into the railway. Gets him with, 51 kilos, first start J-League Junior. It's probably the up-and-comer in the Peters team over that sort of spring period and just couldn't win his way into the railway due to just some probably poor pike rides. He's an intriguing runner.
I think this is the horse that Terry Leighton was horned up about, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so he could be expecting big things, and he's Wiremu Pen, 51 kilos. Could be the flying
Scary.
element. Yeah, beautiful. Okay, DK, This is when we ask you about a maiden. It's usually today, and then the show's usually run and done, and it's either won or lost, and it doesn't matter anyway. Have you got something for us across the next couple of days, or a little angle?
Oh, nothing real clever. Thought the first favourite would win at Ballarat tomorrow. Tom Dabinick, Villa Royale or something. It was a terrific run actually in a much stronger race. It stays at 1200 because it did get a bit keen early, so just has to get the first half of the race right. Jay Fry just got to get it right, and if he's in within range, he should round him up the way he finished off the other day. So nothing clever there. Even though it ran eighth, and they find it, and it goes up 240 or 250 or something. They go up eighth in the old days, beating 5 lengths, should be getting $7 each way, and now they go up 240. Anyway. So it looks like a nice horse actually. Race 1, whatever it is, Villa Royale.
And then Nico's got the first of the 10 race card. So Flemington's going head to head against Rosehill finally, which is good to see them battling it out again. So I've got 11:30 start at Rosehill, and then 11:50 at Flemington.
You see the 10 races are coming in for Brisbane too. They were announced.
Are they?
Yeah,
beautiful. Well, Adelaide's just got to come to the party, and we're betting. From bloody go
daylight savings for us will be starting at 9 o'clock. Cornflakes in the first race.
We'll have to have those, like Tom and Jerry, where you put the toothpicks in your eyes to keep yourself awake. Walt never sleeps. He's a full vampire.
Saturdays are the most boring race days in the world for me now. It's just it's just too much. It's just too much. How can anyone be across it all? I just check in and out. Otherwise, your brain fries. There's too much.
Jerry, long time ago, mate. Queue in the rack at 2:30. Once the maidens are done, that's it. Every day, queue in the rack at 2:30. None of this bloody 6-7 hour race days. I worked that out years ago. Wonder it's taken everyone else so long to Jerry.
Lardoness Rouge, mate, $4.40. Do the race for 2 minutes and then bang, you get the winner. Too good. All right, we'll see you next week.